We got a lot of people who want to weigh in on ESPN analyst Dominic Foxworth saying he roots against Josh Allen because the kind of people who support Josh Allen have American flag and dog avatar pictures on social media. Craziness. Kim in Indiana up first on the OutKick VIP line. What you got for me, Kim?
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. I am not a Buffalo Bills fan because I grew up a Miami fan, but I own a dog, and we have the American flag all over our yard. We have one lit up right on our front yard. We have the American flag on the top of our fence, red, white, and blue, flags everywhere.
Yep.
So with his mindset, he's basically saying he doesn't like me because of that.
Yep.
And that's a very dangerous way to live your life, to judge others in that way. And I don't know what this world is coming to in that mothership. I do not support them. I support your show. And I'm just grateful that there are people like you who stand up for what's right. So thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you. How crazy is it that as justification for rooting against a guy, you say the kind of people who like that guy like the American flag? That's where we are.
Don't forget the skulls. Don't forget the skulls.
Media is. I can't root for that guy. Why can't you root for him? Well, his fans are the kind of people that have American flags in their front yard. And everybody's like, what? Like, imagine that is the argument that somebody makes at a bar that you go to. Your buddy's like, man, I hate that dude. You know, fans stood around, they talk about players they like, they don't like. Why you hate him? Well, I hate him so much because that dude's fans like the American flag and dogs. You'd be like, dude, how much have you had to drink? You're opposed to a guy, an athlete? Not because of the athlete, you're saying, by the way, which is probably a lie, but not because of the athlete, but because the people who support him like the American flag and dogs? Well, you just wiped out like 99% of Americans. I guess everybody else works at ESPN. ESPN's going after the 1% of people that hate the American flag and dogs. How many people are there? How many people in America you think are like, man, you know what I really hate in this country? The flag and dogs. I also don't like puppies, and I don't like the apple pie or moms. And I really hate your grandma. I wish she would drop dead. That's basically what ESPN's saying. Everything that everybody loves, ESPN hates. Who's up next?
We're going to go to the VIP line one more time. Champ in Alabama.
Champ, what you got for me? Do you believe this? I mean, like, I heard this
Clay,
audio, and I was like, I can't believe this is real.
Yeah. In your book 2 years ago, you talked about how sports was the ultimate meritocracy. And
that's
how
right.
When you're at a game, you don't care about somebody's politics when you're high-fiving them in the stands, and how sports serve to unite us. But with this comment, is this not an example of the sports media
dividing
being
us,
more divisive than unifying?
Yeah. Amen. Thanks for the call. Amen. That's what I love about sports, is it can bridge differences, right? Identity politics is all about asking you to treat people differently based on who they are, right? Sports requires that everybody be treated the exact same. You don't get to shoot a free throw closer to the basket because of who you like to sleep with. You don't get to like, if you come out and you say, hey, we're playing a football game this week, this team is disadvantaged, we think, so they only have to get 5 yards for a first down. The other team has to get 10. We don't deal with any of this ridiculous BS. The rules are the same in sports for everybody, which is why it's an ultimate meritocracy. The best man or woman wins. And when I hear comments like Dominic Foxworth, play that for us one more time for people who might be waking up on the West Coast. I'm the only place that's going to play this. But to me, it represents everything that's wrong with sports. Comments like these. Why are you not rooting for Josh Allen? Let's play it. This is on an ESPN podcast. Let me mention this too. It's on a podcast. That means it's not live radio. It's on a podcast, which means that whoever listened to this at ESPN was like, oh, this is fine. Let's go ahead and put it up. We'll distribute it to the entire nation. Right? Live radio is different. I do 3 hours of live radio. Somebody can call in. I don't know what they're going to say. And it goes out to the whole nation. That's why we have a drop button. Sometimes we mess up on it. We miss a curse word. Somebody curses on the air. We try to hit the drop button. We're not flawless. But this is taped, a podcast that they could listen to in advance, and they still thought, hey, Josh Allen being attacked because his fans like the American flag and dogs, were totally fine with that. Listen to this. Dominique Foxworth, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by ESPN. This is what he had to say about Josh Allen, the third best quarterback, in my opinion, in the NFL this year.
It's based on the people that are defending Josh Allen. I would be 100% lying if I said that when Josh does something dumb, a little part of me doesn't get happy. And it's not because I want Josh to succeed. It's because the people who are telling me that Josh is the second coming and Josh is better than everybody are people with American flags and dogs and skull and crossbones and the Abbeys. And then if you go just take a dip into their...
All right, so he's saying, I hate the people who root for Josh Allen. I root for him to do something dumb. And by the way, another ESPN employee, Bomani Jones, who's the worst radio host in the history of the network, right? ESPN has a crappy radio network now. But Bomani Jones is the least successful person they've ever given a national radio show to in the history of the network. They lost affiliates like crazy. Nobody would listen to him because that's the kind of arguments he makes. Fundamentally anti-American arguments. The American flag is a bad thing. I'm going to root against Josh Allen, not because of what Josh Allen does on the field, but because it upsets me that there are Josh Allen fans who have the American flag in their profile. Who's up next, Danny G?
Another VIP. Let's go to Jim in Ohio.
Jim, what you got for me?
Hey, Clay. My problem is this is typical of these guys now. Is it used to be, there was ethics in sports where you actually had to be professional. These guys feel they can just say anything they want. There's no professionalism anymore, so it's like, it's not going to affect me, so why not say the crap I say?
Yeah, thanks for the call. I don't have a problem with anybody's comments. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. Some of you became aware of me because I went on CNN and said I'm a First Amendment and boobs believer, right? Like, some people get fired up about what comments are made. I just want the standard for what comments are made to be applied evenly, just like we would in the rules, right? What happens if one team is allowed to hold for an entire football game and the other team isn't? The game's not fair. It's rigged, right? Every single one of us would say, hey, if you're going to call that one way, you need to call it the other way. That's the number one argument that every coach has, right? You missed that call. Why are you not calling that the same way? All I'm asking in the world of sports is for us to have the same standard. If two white guys at ESPN are having that conversation about Lamar Jackson, they both get fired within 5 minutes of that audio coming out. So why is the standard not the same for everyone when sports, to me, is the ultimate meritocracy, and the way that we determine who the best is by having the exact same standards? Another VIP call. Who's up?
Man, VIP's on fire this morning.
We got a lot of them, man.
Yeah, another Jim, this time in St. Louis.
Jim, what you got for me?
Hey, Clay, I don't know. You better be close to having your second book done because you got way more information available now than you did in your first one. This guy's a straight-up racist. Everything he's saying, he's not just saying American flags and dogs. He's saying white racist. He is more racist than the people he's trying to say are racist.
Yeah. It's funny.
It's out of control.
Thanks for the call. He's a dog whistler, right? This is what left-wingers like to do. Oh, they got the dog whistle out. That's not even a dog whistle. That's like a dog foghorn, and he's just screaming it. But what he's basically saying is, I don't like to see white guys who are fans of Josh Allen be happy because their American flags trigger me in their avatars. Who's up next, Dub?
We got Kyle in Las Vegas.
Kyle in Vegas. What you got for me?
Hey, Clay. So, as a black man, let me just start by saying this. I'm embarrassed and appalled by what was said. That's number one. Number two, what you're saying is absolute because it's the same thing in stand-up comedy. A black guy is able to say jokes towards white people, but as soon as a white comedian says jokes about black people, he's all of a sudden a racist. Also, it would be the same thing, like you said, had two white guys said it about Lamar Jackson, saying, oh, I don't like Lamar Jackson because, half the guys that are fans of his like barbecues, cookouts, and listen to hip-hop, so I don't like him because of that. I root against him.
Thanks for the call. The an easy analogy to make here is if two white guys were sitting around on an ESPN podcast and one of them said, I root for Lamar Jackson to do dumb things because of the people who support him. If you look at their avatars, they've got like Black Lives Matter in their avatar, and that makes me mad, and so I'm excited when he does dumb things. If that were said, it would be the number one story in America, and those white guys would get fired within 5 seconds of that clip going out. How is it that I'm the only person who will even point out what Dominique Foxworth said on Bomani Jones's podcast? People get mad because I want the standard for everybody to be treated the same. That's all I'm asking for. And we don't have it. And I think that's an important battle that needs to be fought. Whatever is acceptable for one person should be acceptable for another person when it comes to sports commentary. And right now we have a fundamentally broken standard. Who's up next, Dub?
We got GW in Cincinnati.
Yeah, what's up?
Clay, how are you doing, man?
Excellent.
Hey, Clay, let me say this. With all due respect to the last caller, I don't know why you apologize. He shouldn't be held responsible for Dominique Foxworth's words. That's like holding you responsible for something Rush Limbaugh had to say. Nate, Clay, I don't see it, man. I don't think that this divides people. I mean, who are you divided from? I mean, we're sports fans. I mean, who's supposed to take this mass offense on either side of it?
Okay, so if Scott Van Pelt at ESPN said he was rooting against Lamar Jackson because of Lamar Jackson's supporters and he liked to see them mad and he went and looked at what things they tweet about and he finds it suspect, you think that the response of a nation would be the exact same?
Well, actually, my first response is what Danny G said when he talked about the context and the fact that they were laughing about it. It kind of reminds me of Clay, and like you just said, when you have somebody say, I don't like LeBron James because he's part of the woke culture, and I hope he didn't win a championship. That was out there. I mean, this doesn't reach, put it this way, Clay, and I agree with you about your top three, even though I think you might like your man Chris Henry. Henry is the running back.
I'm going to pause here for a sec. I think Derrick Henry is the most underrated. I said that yesterday on my show. I think Derrick Henry is the most underrated player. But I said if I had to give a gold, a silver, and a bronze to the three best quarterbacks, I would go in order this year. Mahomes gold, Aaron Rodgers silver, and Josh Allen bronze. So best running back by far. I think arguably the player that has done the best at his position relative to everybody else, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, this is a crazy stat. Derrick Henry has 500 more yards rushing than the third best running back in the NFL. I mean, that's a crazy stat. Derrick Henry has 1,500 plus yards rushing. The third best running back in the NFL right now just has a little bit over 1,000. So that is pretty incredible. We got a few more people who want to weigh in. Here's the audio that we're reacting to.
It's based on the people that are defending Josh Allen. I would be 100% lying if I said that when Josh does something dumb, a little part of me doesn't get happy. And it's not because I want Josh to succeed. It's because the people who are telling me that Josh is the second coming and Josh is better than everybody are people with American flags and dogs and skull and crossbones. And
all right, Josh Allen can't be rooted for because the people who support Josh Allen are the kind of people who have American flags in their avatar. Crazy, I know. Welcome to what ESPN considers to be sports programming. A bunch of people still want to weigh in. Who's up next?
We got Carrie in Florida.
Carrie, what do you think?
Hey, Clay. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a diehard Bills fan, and let me tell you something about the guy that ran his mouth. I don't even know his name. but he's never been to Buffalo. He doesn't know the Bills Mafia. He doesn't know the blue-collar town that Buffalo is and the American people that support the Bills and the red, white, and blue color that we have.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It drives me bonkers. My daughter was in the car with me listening to your show this morning. She's 4. She goes, "Why is he talking about my Joshy that way?"
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart that these kids have to listen to people talk the way they do about other people.
Thanks for the call. The Bills fan base is lined up behind Josh Allen because so many people said he was going to be a bust the minute he got drafted. Not unlike the Baltimore Raven fan base being lined up behind Lamar Jackson because so many people said he was going to be a bust the minute he was drafted. In fact, if you think about the 5 quarterbacks that went in the first round that year, by far the most criticized first-round quarterbacks were Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Where people say, oh, Josh Allen's from Wyoming. He's inaccurate. He has no hope to succeed. And they said the same thing about Lamar Jackson. Both of them weren't accurate enough. They ran too much. So when you go after Josh Allen, yeah, the Bills fans are going to sign up. You heard how emotional she was. Bills fans have dealt with a lot of losing over the last 25 years. Josh Allen's going to lead them back to the playoffs and a home playoff game in Orchard Park. And I'll be damned if I blame Bills fans for looking around and saying, why is ESPN paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars to say he's rooting against Josh Allen because Bills fans have American flags and dog pictures in their profiles? It's insane. I think we have time for one more call. Who's up next, Dub?
We got Rob in South Dakota.
Rob, what you got for me?
Yeah, I love Josh Allen. I think he's great, and I don't like the association that you're giving with left-wing people to it because I'm a Democrat, and I don't like this at all. So
let me say this. I think what I said earlier was the number of people that are opposed to dogs and American flag is almost zero, right? So that's what I'm talking about. When ESPN is speaking here, and make no mistake, this is an ESPN product. They would never allow anything like this to be said about somebody other than Josh Allen, right? You'd never be able to say this about Lamar Jackson. The standard for how we talk about athletes should be the same regardless of what their background is. That's the argument I'm making. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or an independent, the great thing about sports is it brings us together.
Absolutely. I just heard leftists, and I'm like, I just don't quite agree with putting this on a left thing because I don't like this.
Yeah, right. But that perspective of being anti the American flag, do you think there are very many Republicans who are like the American flag sucks? That is a left-wing perspective. Thanks for the call. That's why I'm saying that's a far left-wing perspective. America stinks. We're the worst. Like, that's not something that right-wing Republicans are arguing. Now, dogs, I think they probably crossed the line. But, I mean, in terms of everybody liking, but the American flag is controversial, and you're judging people because they have the American flag in their Twitter avatars? I mean, it's insane. That's what ESPN is. They divide us. They don't unite us. And they prop up people like this who say stupid things like Dominique Foxworth. Good luck to Josh Allen. Good luck to the Buffalo Bills. I've got your back, Bills Mafia, even if everybody else out there will just run and hide when they hear comments like that. That ain't your boy. This is OutKick.